Hello and welcome. Today, we are going to tell another story. A story about one of the most famous and most debated people in the modern world. His name is Donald Trump. You have certainly heard his name before, on the news, on social media, in conversations. Maybe in your own country, people talk about him often. Maybe they love him, maybe they criticize him, maybe both. But today, we are not here to argue. We are not here to take sides. We are here to learn, to understand, and, most importantly, to practice English together. So before we begin, let me remind you of something. This story is designed to help you improve your English. Please don't worry if you don't catch every word. That is completely normal. Listen to the rhythm. Follow the main ideas. Let the sentences flow through your ears. Each time you listen, you will understand more. So, find a comfortable place. Take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin. Our story starts in 1946, in a city called Queens, in New York. A baby boy was born. His parents named him Donald John Trump. Donald was the fourth of 5 children. His father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer. The word real estate means buildings and land. Fred Trump built apartment houses and rented them to families. He was a strict man, disciplined, hard-working, focused on money and results. His mother, Mary Ann, came from Scotland. She was kind, but also tough. She arrived in America with very little and built a life through patience and faith. From a young age, Donald was different from his brothers and sisters. He was loud, he was confident, he was full of energy. While other children were quiet, Donald wanted attention. He wanted to win every game. He wanted to be first. His parents noticed this very early. Sometimes, he was too much to handle. He argued with teachers. He fought with classmates. He didn't like to follow rules. When Donald was 13, his father made a big decision. He sent Donald to a military school. The name of the school was New York Military Academy. The goal was simple: to teach Donald discipline. Now, military school is not easy. The days start early. The rules are strict. You wear a uniform. You march. You stand straight. You obey commands. If you fail, you are punished. For some children, this kind of life is unbearable. But for Donald, something interesting happened. He liked it. The structure helped him focus. The competition motivated him. He played sports. He became a leader among the boys. He learned that being aggressive, in the right way, could bring results. Many years later, Donald would say that those years at military school shaped his personality. He learned to be tough, to never show weakness, to always fight back when challenged. These habits would stay with him for the rest of his life. After military school, Donald went to university. First, he studied at Fordham University in New York. Then, he transferred to the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Wharton is one of the most respected business schools in the United States. There, Donald studied real estate, finance, and economics. He was a serious student, but his real education came from somewhere else. From his father. Almost every weekend, young Donald visited his father's construction sites. He watched workers. He listened to negotiations. He learned how buildings were planned, financed, and built. He saw how to deal with city officials, how to handle tough contractors, how to make deals. His father was his first teacher, and his most important one. After graduating in 1968, Donald officially joined the family business. The company was called Trump Management. It owned thousands of apartments across Brooklyn and Queens. For most young men, this would be a comfortable career. Take over a profitable company. Continue what your father built. Earn a steady income. But Donald was not satisfied. He looked at his father's business, and he had a different vision. His father focused on outer New York, on working-class neighborhoods. Donald wanted to move into the most expensive area of the city. He wanted Manhattan. Manhattan is the heart of New York. the most expensive land in America, the home of tall skyscrapers, luxury hotels, and famous brands. To build in Manhattan, you needed money, connections, and confidence. In the early 1970s, Donald did not have much money of his own. But he had something else. He had ambition, and he had a famous family name. In 1971, he became the president of the company. He renamed it from Trump Management to the Trump Organization. A small change, but a meaningful one. The name was bigger, bolder, more personal. This was the beginning of the Trump brand. His first big project came in the mid-1970s. New York City was in trouble. The economy was bad. Many buildings were empty. The Commodore Hotel near Grand Central Station was old, dirty, and closing down. Most developers saw it as a problem. Donald saw it as an opportunity. He negotiated a deal with the city. He got tax breaks. He partnered with the Hyatt hotel chain. And he transformed the old Commodore into a shining new hotel, the Grand Hyatt New York. The project was a success. Donald was now noticed. Newspapers wrote about him. Investors paid attention. He was no longer just Fred Trump's son. He was Donald Trump, a name on his own. After the Grand Hyatt, Donald moved to his most famous early project, Trump Tower. Trump Tower was a tall, shiny skyscraper in the middle of Manhattan. It opened in 1983. It had luxury apartments, expensive shops, and famous restaurants. The building was covered in golden glass. The lobby had a giant waterfall. It looked rich. It felt powerful. Donald lived in the top floors. His office was decorated in gold and marble. From his window, he could see all of New York spread out below. Trump Tower was more than a building. It was a symbol of wealth, a symbol of success, a symbol of Donald Trump himself. Throughout the 1980s, Donald became one of the most famous businessmen in America. He bought hotels. He bought casinos in Atlantic City. He owned an airline. He owned a football team. He bought yachts and private jets. His face appeared on magazine covers. His name appeared on books. He wrote a famous book called The Art of the Deal. It became a bestseller. It taught readers how Donald saw business, how he negotiated, how he thought. In that book, he shared one of his most famous ideas. Think big. Always think bigger than your competitors. Don't be afraid to dream large. Don't be afraid to take risks. But here is something important. Not everything was perfect. In the early 1990s, Donald faced serious problems. His casinos in Atlantic City were losing money. His airline was failing. He had borrowed huge amounts of money from banks. And suddenly, he could not pay it back. Newspapers said Donald Trump was finished. Some experts believed he would lose everything. It was a very difficult time. He was almost personally bankrupt. He had to negotiate with banks for years. He had to sell some properties. He had to make compromises. But slowly, step by step, he came back. He restructured his debts. He simplified his business. He learned from mistakes. By the late 1990s, he was rich again. Maybe not as rich as he claimed, but rich and famous, and back in the game. This was an important pattern. Donald often faced failure, but he refused to admit it publicly. He always projected confidence, always presented himself as a winner, whether it was true or not. Some people admire this attitude. Others criticize it. But everyone agrees on one thing. Donald Trump understood the power of image. Now, let me take you to another part of his story. Television. In 2004, Donald started a new chapter. He became the host of a reality television show called The Apprentice. The show was simple. A group of young people competed for a job in the Trump Organization. Each week, they completed business challenges. Each week, one contestant was eliminated, and at the end of each episode, Donald looked at the loser, pointed his finger, and said two famous words, "You're fired." Those two words became a national catchphrase. People said it at work, at home, As a joke, the show became a huge hit. It ran for many years. Millions of Americans watched it every week. But The Apprentice did something even more important for Donald. It changed his image. He was no longer just a businessman from New York. He became a celebrity, a character, a national figure that everyday Americans recognized and trusted. This celebrity status would matter enormously in the next chapter of his life. In June 2015, Donald Trump made a surprising announcement. He came down a golden escalator in Trump Tower. He stood at a microphone, and he told the world that he was running for President of the United States. Most people did not take him seriously. Many experts laughed. Newspapers called it a joke. They said he was doing it for publicity. They said he would quit before the real campaign began. But Donald did not quit. He gave speeches. He held rallies. He used social media in a completely new way. He spoke directly to ordinary Americans. He used simple language, short sentences, strong opinions. His message connected with millions of voters, especially in small towns and working-class communities. Many of them felt forgotten by traditional politicians. Many felt that politicians ignored their problems. Donald promised to fight for them, to bring back jobs, to protect borders. To put America first, his slogan became famous around the world: "Make America Great Again." To his supporters, this slogan was inspiring. It meant pride, strength, and hope. To his critics, it sounded different. They worried it suggested division, fear, or going backward instead of forward. The same words meant very different things to different Americans. The campaign was unlike anything in American history. He attacked his political enemies on Twitter. He gave wild, emotional speeches. He said things that other politicians would never dare to say. Many people thought he had no chance to win. Polls showed he was behind. Most experts predicted he would lose. But on the 8th of November 2016, something shocked the world. Donald Trump was elected President of the United States. He defeated Hillary Clinton, a politician with 30 years of experience in government. The result surprised journalists, professors, foreign leaders, and even many of his own supporters. On the 20th of January 2017, Donald Trump took the oath of office. He became the 45th President of the United States. He was 70 years old. He had never served in government before, never been a senator, never been a governor, never been in the military. He went straight from television and real estate to the most powerful job in the world. His presidency was unusual from the very first day. He communicated through Twitter at all hours. He fired senior officials suddenly. He clashed with traditional media. He challenged old political habits. Supporters loved his style. They said he was finally a leader who spoke honestly, who didn't follow polite political rules, who fought back when attacked. Critics strongly disagreed. They said his style was reckless, that he insulted people too easily, that he ignored facts, that he created chaos inside the government. Both views existed at the same time. America became deeply divided. Let's talk about some of the main events of his presidency. First, the economy. During his first 3 years, the American economy grew. Unemployment was low. The stock market rose to record highs. Many Americans felt that their financial situation improved. Trump highlighted these numbers at every chance. Second, taxes. In 2017, he signed a major tax law. It reduced taxes for many companies and individuals. Supporters said this boosted business. Critics argued it mostly helped the wealthy. Third, trade. Donald believed that other countries, especially China, treated America unfairly. He started a trade war with China. He placed tariffs, which are extra taxes on imported goods. Some industries supported this, others were hurt by it. Fourth, immigration. This was one of his biggest topics. He promised to build a wall along the border with Mexico. He tightened immigration rules. He stopped travel from several countries. His policies were extremely controversial. Some people supported them strongly. Others protested in cities across America. Fifth, foreign policy. Donald met with leaders that previous presidents avoided. He met the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. He challenged NATO allies. He moved the American embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. He brought home some troops from foreign wars. His approach broke many traditions. But the biggest event of his presidency was nothing he planned. In early 2020, a new virus appeared. It came from China. It spread across the world. It was called COVID-19. Within weeks, the virus reached the United States. Cities closed. Schools shut down. Businesses stopped. Hospitals filled with patients. People were afraid. Donald's response to COVID-19 was one of the most debated parts of his presidency. He pushed hard for the rapid development of vaccines. This effort, called Operation Warp Speed, produced vaccines in record time. Supporters said this saved millions of lives. But there were also serious problems. His public messages about the virus were inconsistent. Sometimes he said it would disappear quickly. Sometimes he criticized scientists. Sometimes he questioned mask wearing. The result was confusion across the country. Hundreds of thousands of Americans died during the pandemic. Many families lost loved ones. Economic damage was huge. People argued, and still argue, about what could have been done differently. While the pandemic continued, the country also faced political tension. In November 2020, Donald ran for re-election. His opponent was Joe Biden. The election was very close in many states, but on the official count, Joe Biden won. Donald did not accept the result. He claimed that the election was stolen. He said there was fraud. He filed many lawsuits. Most courts rejected his claims. State officials, including some of his own supporters, confirmed that the election was secure. But Donald continued to challenge the result. The argument continued for weeks. The country became more and more divided. Then, on the 6th of January 2021, something happened that shocked the world. A large group of Trump supporters gathered in Washington, D.C. They listened to speeches. Then, hundreds of them marched to the Capitol building, where Congress was confirming the election result. The crowd pushed past the police. They broke windows. They entered the building. For several hours, the U.S. Capitol was under chaos. Lawmakers had to hide. Some officers were injured. People died during the event. To his supporters, this was a passionate protest that went too far. To his critics, this was a dangerous attack on democracy itself. The event remains one of the most controversial moments in American history. 2 weeks later, Joe Biden became president. Donald Trump left the White House. But his story was far from over. After leaving the presidency, most former presidents quietly retire. They write books, they give speeches, they play golf, they stay out of daily politics. Donald did the opposite. He stayed extremely active. He continued to speak at large rallies. He continued to communicate with millions of followers. He continued to influence the Republican Party. He also faced many legal challenges. Several investigations were opened against him. He was charged with crimes in different courts. Some cases related to business records. Some related to handling of documents. Some related to the events around the 2020 election. He became the first former American president in history to face criminal charges in this way. Some Americans saw the trials as proof of wrongdoing. Others saw them as political attacks. Once again, the country was divided. But Donald did not retreat. He used the trials to energize his supporters. He told them that the legal system was being used against him. And against him, he said, was really against them. Then, in 2024, he ran for president again. Most political experts thought it would be very difficult. He was facing trials. He was older. The Republican Party had other candidates. The country had moved on. But once again, the experts were wrong. On the 5th of November 2024, Donald Trump was elected again. He defeated Vice President Kamala Harris. He became the 47th President of the United States, after also being the 45th. He is one of the very few people in American history to leave the White House and come back later. In January 2025, he took the oath of office for the second time. This made his comeback one of the most remarkable political stories of the modern age. Now, let's step back from the events. Let's look at Donald Trump as a person. He's a man of strong contrasts. He is incredibly confident. He almost never admits weakness. He says he is the best at almost everything he does. To supporters, this is inspiring. To critics, it is arrogant. He is unpredictable. You never know exactly what he will say next. He surprises people on purpose. He makes bold statements. He changes his mind quickly. Supporters say this keeps enemies off balance. Critics say it creates dangerous instability. He is a master of attention. Whether you love him or hate him, you cannot ignore him. He understands how to dominate conversations, how to control the news cycle, how to make every story about himself. He is also extremely loyal to family. His children play important roles in his businesses and political career. His wife, Melania, supports him publicly even during difficult times. Family appears to be very important to him, but he also has weaknesses. Many people, even supporters, admit that he sometimes speaks too aggressively. He attacks people personally. He uses harsh nicknames. He holds grudges. He often refuses to apologize, even when he is clearly wrong. These weaknesses have cost him friends. They have cost him allies. They have made his enemies fight back harder. Like every powerful person in history, Donald Trump is a mix of strengths and weaknesses. He is not a perfect hero. He is not a simple villain. He is a complex human being, and complex people create complex reactions. So what can we learn from his story? Let me share 5 lessons. Not because everyone should agree with him. People can disagree with him for many good reasons. But because his life still offers useful ideas for anyone trying to understand power, communication, and persistence. Lesson 1. Branding is powerful. Donald turned his own name into a global brand. He understood, very early, that names, words, and images shape how the world sees you. In your career, your name and your reputation matter. Build them carefully. Lesson 2. Confidence opens doors. Even when Donald did not have all the skills, he acted as if he did. Sometimes, this attitude pushed him into rooms others could not enter. There is a difference between healthy confidence and false confidence, but too much shyness can also hold you back. Lesson 3. Communication is everything. Donald spoke in short, simple sentences. He repeated key messages. He used emotional language. Whatever you think of his ideas, you must admit, his messages stuck in people's minds. If you want to influence people, learn to communicate clearly. Lesson 4. Comebacks are possible. He went bankrupt in the 1990s. People said he was finished. He returned. He lost the presidency in 2020. People said he was done. He returned. In life, you will fall down. The question is, will you stand up again? Lesson 5. Power creates conflict. The more powerful you become, the more enemies you will have. The brighter your light, the bigger your shadow. This is not a reason to avoid success, but it is a reason to prepare yourself mentally for criticism. Now, of course, we must also be honest about the criticisms. Many people around the world have strong concerns about Donald Trump. Some criticize his language. They say he is too aggressive, that he insults too easily, that he sets a bad example for young people. Some criticize his policies. They say his approach to immigration was too harsh, that his trade wars hurt working families, that his handling of the pandemic cost lives. Some criticize his behavior. They point to lawsuits, to investigations, to statements that turned out to be false, to his refusal to accept the 2020 election. Some criticize his impact on democracy. They worry that his style weakens trust in institutions, that his attacks on judges and journalists are dangerous, that his loyalty test for political allies is harmful. These are serious concerns. They cannot be ignored. A complete story must include them. But supporters also have strong arguments. They say he gave a voice to people who felt forgotten, that he challenged a political system that had become slow and disconnected, that he prioritized American workers, that he stood up to foreign powers, that his energy, while difficult, was needed. Both sides are talking about the same person. Both sides see different parts of the same story. This is how it is with all powerful figures. They look different depending on where you stand. So, what does the future hold? Honestly, no one knows. Donald Trump is now president again. His second term will shape American politics, the world economy, and global affairs for years to come. He will make decisions that historians will study for a long time. Some of those decisions will be praised. Some will be criticized. Some will succeed. Some will fail. That is the nature of leadership. But regardless of what happens next, his place in history is already secured. Whether you admire him or oppose him, Donald Trump has changed how American politics works. He has changed how leaders communicate. He has changed how people engage with media. He has changed the rules of the game. Whether those changes are good or bad, the world is still deciding. The story of Donald Trump is not just a story about politics. It is a story about ambition, about branding, about risk, about surviving failure, about connecting with millions of people who feel forgotten, and about the deep divisions inside modern society. He is not perfect. No leader is. He has made many mistakes. He has hurt many people. He has also inspired many people. He has changed many lives. The truth includes all of it. And from his story, all of us, regardless of our political opinions, can take away one important truth. In our modern world, image, voice, and persistence are enormous forces. If you want to be heard, you must learn to communicate clearly. If you want to be remembered, you must build something memorable. If you want to make a difference, you must keep going when others give up. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump. You don't have to admire him. You don't have to copy him, but you can study him like we study every powerful figure in history and learn something useful for your own life. Before we finish, let me thank you again for spending this time with me. Thank you for practicing English with patience. Thank you for keeping an open mind. Thank you for trying to understand a complicated person instead of accepting a simple answer. Real learning, in language and in life, requires curiosity, requires patience, requires the courage to listen to opinions that may be different from our own. If this story helped you, please listen again. Each time, your ears will catch new details. Each time, your understanding will grow. Language learning is slow, but it is also powerful. Small daily efforts create extraordinary results. Keep going, keep practicing, keep believing in your progress. I'll see you in the next story. Take care, and keep learning.